So, ladies and gentlemen, Manchester United have successfully signed Sesko and also are in talks with Baleba. And meanwhile, Newcastle United were on the verge of signing Benjamin Sesko, now went all the way to signing Nicholas Cesspool. What's up, public? Welcome back to another video. And today we have with us the man behind Ash Talks Football, Ashish himself. Ashish bhai, how are you, man?
I'm doing really well. After the Sesko transfer, what I would like to hear from you.
Yeah, I think so. Today we're going to talk about Manchester United, and everything will be focused on Manchester United.
Yeah.
And you being a long time fan for Manchester United, um, Ash bhai, let's start with the transfers and the big fish, the big elephant in the room, right? Benjamin Sesko has finally been signed by Man United, and I'll give my thoughts first on this. Okay,
Yep.
look, I did not imagine in my wildest dreams that Sesko would choose United. Um, Before, I mean, and keeping United aside, knowing the fact that United is not playing in the Europe in the next season, right? Just this just talks about how much is the pull and the brand value United possesses, even after having such a poor season. So, man, not just Benjamin Sesko, but the likes of Mbuemo and Matthews Cunha. Your attack certainly looks tasty.
Yeah,
Look, I hate to admit this, but your attack looks tasty.
it does.
But I mean, how has this happened, Ashish? Bhai? Talk to me about this
Right,
entire
right.
signing.
And so this honestly has surprised me as well because considering like the amount of revenue that we potentially lost by not qualifying for the Champions League, right? Potentially
Yeah,
150 million euros we lost out because of not qualifying for Champions League, right? So the thing is that why Sesko chose us all comes down to the fact is I think he had been wanting to come here since a long time. He had mentioned this in one of the very like he was doing a personal podcast somewhere in some channel, right? He had mentioned
right.
that he's still not ready to take that step up and maybe and he also had followed United. I think he had a inner desire always to step up to the Premier League. Then Man
Yeah,
United would be the place to go for. Europe or not Europe, it doesn't matter for him right now because right now he's still in that growth stage at this point, right? Where he understands that Leipzig also had an underwhelming season. Had he stayed at Leipzig as well, he would not. They weren't playing Europe as well this season, anyways, right? So the step up to Premier League came at the right moment of time, and obviously Newcastle came in with a bigger bid, but it's as Fabrizio Romano said, do not underestimate Man United in the transfer window. So it is it is a legit statement in my opinion and fair up
right.
and fair play I think and the point you mentioned around the attack being absolutely tasty, it is tasty. It's looking really good, but I would
Yeah.
like to give you some context on that is for the front three to fire we have to solve the midfield issue, but also let's
Mm.
like that will come to. But another point I would like to mention is why United prioritize the front three,
Mm.
the L10s and the 10s and the striker is
Right.
last season in the Premier League we scored only 44 goals and the previous
Mm.
season we only scored 54 goals. We
Right.
had very prolific seasons under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, under Eric Ten Hag to a
Right.
certain extent in his first season, but never under the last two seasons and even under Ruben Amorim's season last year out as well. So we had to close that gap of scoring goals as well. Cunha and Mbuma brings us like close to 35 goals. Sesko brings us
Right.
like 13 goals or something. So we had to bridge that gap between that 44 goal mark and that 70 goal mark. That's why that it
Correct.
was very important for us. Those three signings.
No, 100%. And I think so. There are lots of goals coming up from these new attackers. But a bit more on this Sesko point, Ashish bhai.
Right.
We've seen
Right.
the fact that the play style that Sesko possesses, he's a
Hmm.
fantastic player on the air with his heading abilities, right?
Absolutely. I'll give
He's
you some stats.
fast, he's lethal. Finishing ability is you'll see way much better in terms of what you have with the likes of Rasmus Højlund. That's what I believe, right?
Absolutely.
Um, he's a good player when it comes to counter-attacking abilities,
Hmm.
right? But also looking at his dominance that he possesses on the air with his heading abilities, do you think so? Man United, of course, we're gonna talk tactics in much more
Yes, yes.
depth. But considering the fact that you guys have just bought the likes of Mbuemo, you've got Matheus
Hmm.
Cunha, and you've got the other guys who are already
Right.
there in the team.
Right.
Um, Do you think so? This cross factor is going to be a bit more, because I've not seen Man United play this cross and spam crosses, just like what Liverpool used to do, no, with the likes
Right,
of Trent Alexander-Arnold spamming crosses, then now and then, right? Do you think
right.
so? Man United will follow that path a bit more, or have you seen some,
Yes,
sights of Amorim doing that in the preseason? Because Sesko is a brilliant header, and if you don't
absolutely.
unlock that part of Sesko, I think so you might be missing something.
That's a perfect assessment, Ishan. Like, thanks for this. I'll give you more aspects to it. Glad you brought this point up. So I'll give you some really good stats. I was researching about Sesko a lot, like from a
Yeah,
data perspective as well, right? And when I was looking
correct.
Embumo as well from a data perspective, plus from a gameplay perspective. So okay,
Yeah,
Sesko bringing his tall. I mean, when he was revealed at Old Trafford yesterday, then I saw how tall he was exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Massive, huge guy. Okay, now
massive.
this is going to help in that hold up play. He necessarily did not do a lot of hold up play in Leipzig because they played a different formation. They played like a two strikers thing, so they used to play more on transition, linking up
Yes,
with Openda, and that's also a reason why his numbers are way lesser than Openda as well, because he used to play that support role to Openda as well. But they used to
correct.
complement each other. Now Sesko will be the focal point in this formation, right? The single lone
Yes,
striker. So now he will
yes,
bring aerial. Now the great point you mentioned about the aerial threat, right? Last season he won 70% of his aerial duels. That's
wow,
staggering stat. Okay, that's a staggering
yes,
stat. 70% of an aerial duel win tells you that he's gonna provide that physicality as well. I'll give you another context, right? So I was like from a stat perspective as well.
yeah,
United were the lowest, like they are the bottom in the barrel when it comes to scoring non-penalty goals in set pieces,
wow, okay,
right? Even
yeah,
even lower than the relegated teams as well,
yeah,
right? In the last three seasons. So that aerial
correct.
factor will come. Aerial ability will come into the factor when it comes to set pieces. We already seeing that with Mbumo's pinpoint corners and also
Right.
pinpoint crossing abilities, where Zirkzee and actually Sesko have better numbers to um, be in front of those crosses, be behind those crosses as well,
Yes.
which
Yes.
Hoyland cannot do it. That's what
Cannot do it. Hmm.
analysis and stats tell you. And overall, when we see games, it tells you. So this is where Mbumo comes in really, really well. The same thing he did at Brentford as well. Used to ping in so many crosses inside the box,
Yeah.
and that used to
Yeah.
help Brentford. So that's an
Hmm.
important factor of the aerial duels that I was wanted to mention you, so that people can know what Sesko is exactly bringing to United physically as well.
We
Right.
know the fact that the dungeon that Man United was at the as an entire community, right, for
Right.
last few years is not cool in terms of Man United being the team that they
Yeah, yeah,
used to
absolutely.
be, right? And the mud that they were in, it's not easy to get out of it at one stroke, or maybe one transfer window. Getting three strikers
Right.
might not just be enough to get pull the entire club out of where it was,
No,
because
no,
you guys have
absolutely.
finished at the second page, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Ashish, but not just from the team's perspective, or not just from the transfers, or picking players from the transfer market. What do you think? What else can be done? Again, just to
Hmm.
add up to the question, getting these new signings, and very formidable ones as well,
Right.
shows that the United management is now relying heavily and probably has confidence on Ruben Amorim,
Right.
irrespective of what he's done last season, right?
Right. Right.
What if things go left with Amorim
Hmm.
and there is someone new coming in? Will these new signings make sense, or do you think so? There's something else going on here. There's some new other signings should be happening, or
Right.
this manager is here for long. What is happening? How should
Mm.
United progress towards getting their trajectory graph
Right.
upwards?
No, that's a fair question. I think we all have to understand, like even United fans. I know the fan base is pretty has been like 50-50, being very impatient. I'm one of those patient fans that when I'm getting a manager of a certain pedigree that was absolutely wanted by the likes of City and Liverpool when they wanted to replace their stalwarts, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Amorim was the number one option for them. So we have to realize that Amorim comes with a pedigree and a proven record of taking a club into a sustainable position. And that comes when you
right,
fix the culture in the squad right now. So that squad culture is right now being fixed with the sell of Rashford and Garnacho primarily, and Sancho as well, working behind the deals as well. Because
correct.
though they out of favor, they don't work for us culturally as well. Let's keep the footballing piece aside. I think
Yeah.
once once a once a squad has a good camaraderie between them, they have a good culture, they have a good setup, like the basics of football, right? The club starts in a better way. Now, also recently, with all the feedbacks coming from Ronaldo, everyone, I think they
Yeah.
refurbished the whole Carrington training ground as well. Fantastic state of the art facilities right now, 50 million overhaul in that
Mm.
training center, which is going to absolutely help Amarim and his analysts to do some more data driven stuff, even in the training ground. Those are good stuff that Ineos is working also behind the scenes. So I think there's a shift in fixing some of the fundamental issues in the club, right?
Yeah.
Also with the new wage structure that players are being given. Now Sesko
Right.
is not gonna earn like more than 200K. He's gonna earn like hardly 170K in this United team.
Right.
Considering his transfer fees, people would
Yeah.
have expected, okay, he's a marquee signing, potentially
Yeah.
marquee signing, he will get a lot of salary, but that's not the case, right? So
Yeah.
that's changing. Um, I think, and from my perspective, right, they should be giving a manager the right amount of backing plus time to implement what he wants to do. Those
Right.
signings that Amarim had to play with were signings of a manager that plays completely a different system. The
Mm.
United brought Amarim for a reason that this is a formation that has worked. Real Madrid took that same shift as well with Xabi Alonso, understanding
Yeah.
the needs of modern football, going with a back three, 4-2-1 with back five wing backs
Yeah.
overlapping and
Yeah.
stuff.
Correct.
Chelsea played that formation in Club World Cup, worked
Yeah.
beautifully with the squad you have, but obviously your
Yes.
players were in a better situation to adapt to that formation as well, which I'll give Maresca kudos and 100 points to that,
Yeah.
right? To help him adapt. Criticism on Amrim last season was why wasn't he able to adapt with the current squad with, and we saw so many losses. That was a criticism I had as well. But now with this preseason, at least we haven't lost a game, 2 wins and
Right.
3 draws. That's a fair reflection of that. There's something brewing up. At least I see something happening in this squad that is resetting that whole culture at Man United. Plus, we won't be
Yeah.
playing Europe, and I see this
Yeah.
as a blessing in disguise. So that will at least help him managing the squad as well. But I think some of the players will have to be let go as well that do not fit the system currently. But your question on if things go left, right?
Yeah.
If we have a bad season, right? Again, like by
Yeah.
January we are languishing in the bottom half of the season team. I don't
Yeah.
think so. It might happen, but let's say a situation it will happen. Let's say it's a possibility, right?
Yeah.
If it happens, I still believe that Ineos have already made it clear that we're gonna stick with this manager unless things go really, really south. Like we are talking like 15th, 16th once again.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
obviously Amarim will give up his like contract. Like it's not working out,
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave. Before even
Correct.
Ineos says something like that. But I
Correct.
believe,
Yeah.
like Klopp, like in Liverpool, how they did it, cleared out the deadboard, gave Klopp the time to establish his formation and his philosophy
Mm-hmm.
with the players, then you
Mm.
see a sustainable growth. That's where I see Amarim in the squad.
No, 100%. Very well answered. I think so. It's going to be so interesting to see Man United next season because uh,
Right.
they're one of the biggest club in England definitely and world as well, irrespective of the where they finished last season.
Absolutely.
And whenever the focused uh, result, because of the focused result from last season,
Hmm.
the anticipation for the next season becomes even more exciting and
Absolutely.
well weighted by the fans. So we'll have to see how United spans up, but yeah, I think so. It's some exciting signings that United have made. What's your final thoughts, Ashish? By how do you look Man United is gonna pan out in the next season? Where do you see them finishing in the table, and also how do you aspire United's performance to be?
Right, right. So it all like and well summed up there, Ishan. And I think while we fix some of our attacking issues, if we need to sign, at least we are still in, like really, really in for a midfielder and a goalkeeper right now, considering we have strong links with Baliba and Donnarumma not signing a contract with PSG. There's a
Right.
chance that might actually land these two, or even a Sene Lamens, right? So these are the two. I think Baliba's links are very strong. Their
Yeah.
personal agreement is never an issue. If we get him, it's going to be fantastic. I think one of the best press resistant ball carriers right there in the
Yeah.
Premier League at that age bracket as well. So if we
Hmm.
do those signings by the end of the window, then I'm looking at the top six because we have to demand top six then because we are fixing some of the issues. But if United does not get a midfielder and
Yeah.
considering we are not playing Europe, we are playing every week once. top 8 should be a realistic option. I want good football and some goals to be scored at Old Trafford to actually
Yeah.
believe in this project a bit more.
No, I think so. That's a very fair assessment. We'll have to see what comes up for
Right.
United next season, and if Amorim just clicks, just like right now, lately Maresca has just clicked right with
Right.
this squad, and of course with the addition as well, it looks kind of cool. So again, Amorim, he has to make the current players adapt, and also
Right.
if there are new signings upcoming with the likes of Baleba, and if there are someone else he wants to sign, it just has to gel in, like fit in
Absolutely.
like a glove, and then probably it'll work out. So we've reached to the end of the video, Ashbhai, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely.
Um, Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to follow Ash Talks Football, an absolute thriller of a YouTube channel he has. Please watch out all his videos and subscribe to him. And also do like this video. Let us know in this comment section what do you think about Man United signings. What do you think? How do you think the setup is going to be for Man United, and where will they finish in the Premier League next season? Yes, do not forget to smash the subscribe button as well and click on the bell icon if you feel like you want to be notified about the future videos. We'll meet in the next video. Until then, goodbye, guys.